Think about the last time you ordered a $40 dinner on your phone.
Yeah, we've all done it.
Right. And, $12 of that 40 likely never even made it to the restaurant's kitchen. It just vanished, like an invisible digital tax.
Exactly, yeah.
You pulled out your phone, you tapped a few buttons, and 30 minutes later, boom, your food arrived. To you, it felt completely seamless.
Oh, completely.
But behind the scenes, up to 30% of your entire bill bypassed the local business and went straight into the pockets of a third-party delivery app. So today on this deep dive, we are looking at how restaurants and local startups are finally hacking that system to take their money back.
It really is a phenomenal shift in the industry. We're looking at this article today from Enatega, and it explores the mechanics of what's called a white label food delivery platform.
Right.
And for years, local businesses have just felt completely trapped by these massive Silicon Valley delivery networks. But this technology is quietly, it's fundamentally restructuring the power dynamics of the whole restaurant world.
I was reading a breakdown of restaurant economics recently, and man, the math of that 30% tax just blew my mind.
It's brutal.
It really is. Because, if you buy a $10 burger, once you account for the cost of the beef, the bun, the cook's hourly wage, the electricity, all of that.
Yeah, the overhead.
Exactly. The owner is left with maybe, 50 cents to $1 of actual profit?
If they're lucky, yeah.
Right. It is an industry built on famously thin margins. So when an app just swoops in and takes $3 right off the top of the gross revenue, I don't get how the math even works for the restaurant.
Well, the short answer is it generally doesn't.
Wow.
Yeah, for a vast majority of these businesses, relying heavily on third-party delivery marketplaces is actually a loss leader.
Wait, really? A loss leader?
Yeah. They're operating those specific orders at a net negative just to, keep the lights on and maintain some level of visibility in the market.
Just to get seen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
These platforms are essentially demand aggregators. They control this massive pool of consumers, but the toll for accessing that demand is so incredibly high that it places a hard ceiling on a restaurant's ability to grow or hire or even just survive a slow season.
It feels like an extortionate landlord situation to me.
That's a good way to put it.
Relying completely on these third-party apps is basically like renting a storefront where the landlord doesn't just charge you a flat rate for the building.
Right.
Instead, they stand directly at your cash register and take 30% of every single burger you sell.
Yeah, a cut of every single transaction.
And you are the one buying the ingredients, you're managing the staff, taking on all the physical risk, and they are just skimming the cream right off the top, just for pointing the customer in your direction.
That is the exact dilemma. And for a long time, restaurant owners believed they had absolutely no alternative. The obvious solution would be to simply cut out the middleman and build your own app.
Sure, yeah, just make your own.
Right, but when you actually look at the reality of custom software development, the barriers to entry for a local business are just astronomical.
But wait, couldn't a restaurant just hire a freelance developer, pay them to build a simple app? Because the Enatega article mentions that custom apps can easily cost upwards of $100,000.
Oh, easily.
And take 6 to 12 months to build, which, that seems incredibly high just to host a digital menu and a checkout cart.
Well, it sounds high until you break down what a modern delivery app actually requires to function. Because you aren't just building a static digital menu.
Right.
You are building highly secure payment gateways that have to strictly comply with all these credit card processing regulations.
Right, true. PCI compliance and all that.
Exactly. And you are building real-time GPS tracking systems that interface with your delivery drivers. Plus, you're building cloud databases that can handle hundreds of simultaneous orders during a Friday night dinner rush without just completely crashing.
That sounds like a nightmare.
It is. And that $100,000 is just the upfront cost.
Meaning you also have to maintain it.
Precisely. Because software is never really finished. Every single time Apple or Android updates their smartphone operating system, your custom app might just break.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And suddenly you need an in-house tech team or, a retainer with a development agency just to fix bugs and issue updates. So for someone whose actual expertise is hospitality, pouring massive amounts of capital into software development is an immense financial risk.
Which brings us to the rescue boat that the source material really focuses on, this white label food delivery platform. So if building a custom app is like laying your own foundation, pouring your own concrete, and wiring your own electricity just to have a place to live, what exactly is a white label platform in this context?
Well, to bury your analogy, a white label platform is like leasing a prefabricated luxury digital house. The software provider has already spent the millions of dollars and years of development time engineering all that complex architecture. They've built the payment gateways, the GPS tracking, the load balancing databases. It is fully crash tested and market ready.
So the hard work is done.
Exactly. When a restaurant uses a white label service, they are essentially just licensing that underlying digital plumbing. They don't have to write a single line of code. They just apply their own branding, their colors, their logos, their typography, and launch it as their own proprietary technology.
And the cost difference outlined in the article is staggering. I mean, instead of $100,000 in a year of waiting, a business can launch their fully branded app in just a matter of weeks.
A few weeks, yeah.
And the pricing models usually range from like $1,000 to $5,000 for a standard setup, maybe scaling up to $50,000 if you were building a massive, highly complex enterprise system for multiple vendors.
Right, which is still half the price of starting from scratch.
Exactly. And the platform provider handles all the invisible maintenance and the operating system updates.
And honestly, the time to market reduction is arguably just as critical as those cost savings.
Yeah.
Because in the restaurant business, consumer trends shift rapidly.
Oh, for sure.
You cannot wait 12 months to establish a direct digital storefront. Launching in a few weeks means a business can immediately start capturing demand and bypassing those 30% marketplace fees. They get this enterprise-level technology without having to suddenly become a chief technology officer.
Okay, I have to play the skeptic for a moment, though.
Go for it.
Because if a piece of software is pre-built, mass-produced, and essentially leased out to hundreds of different restaurants, doesn't it run the risk of looking like a generic, clunky knockoff?
That's a fair question.
Like, if I download an app for my favorite local sushi place and the interface looks like a high school coding project, I'm going to delete it and go right back to the big tech apps. Because they are slick, they're intuitive and frictionless.
That is a very valid concern. And honestly, it used to be the reality of white label software maybe a decade ago.
Really?
Oh yeah, they were terrible. But modern white label platforms are incredibly sophisticated. The level of deep customization available today means the end consumer literally never knows they're using a pre-built system.
Wow, so it's that seamless.
Totally. The restaurant can dictate the entire visual journey. The specific layout of the menu categories, the color hex codes, the exact flow of the checkout process. The app operates with the exact same smoothness, real-time tracking, and push notifications that consumers expect from the Silicon Valley giants. It feels premium because, structurally, it is premium.
Okay, so a local business saves their 30% margin, they avoid a $100,000 development nightmare, and they deliver a premium digital experience to you, the consumer.
Win-win-win.
That alone is a massive operational win. But the Enatega article highlights a secondary benefit that seems, even more impactful than the immediate financial savings, and that's the concept of data ownership.
Yes. Data is the true secret weapon in this ecosystem. It is arguably the most powerful long-term advantage of moving away from third-party marketplaces. In the modern digital economy, consumer data is often just as valuable as the physical product being sold.
Let's put the listener in the shoes of a restaurant owner for a second to really illustrate this.
Okay, let's do it.
Imagine I run a local pizza joint, and you, the listener, order a large pepperoni every single Friday night through one of the massive delivery apps.
A classic Friday night routine.
Right. So I cook the pizza, I box it up, I hand it to the driver, but the app completely masks who you are. I don't get your phone number, I don't get your email address, I don't even get your name half the time.
No, nothing at all.
To me, my most loyal Friday night customer is just like, order number 412, printing out on a receipt in the kitchen.
And that purposeful blinding of the restaurant is the core strategy of third-party delivery platforms.
That's so manipulative.
It is. They hoard the customer data because they want the consumer's loyalty to remain with their marketplace, not with your specific pizza joint. If they control the data, they can subtly manipulate consumer behavior.
Wow.
Like they might suggest a different pizza place to you next Friday just because that other restaurant agreed to pay a higher marketing fee to the platform.
That's crazy. So they're essentially stepping between the business and the customer and claiming ownership of the relationship.
Exactly.
When you use their app, you are basically paying a premium to build their business, not yours.
Right.
But with a white label app, that entire dynamic just flips. The restaurant gets full, unfiltered ownership of the data. They know exactly who is ordering, what they're ordering, and when they are ordering it.
And that level of granular data unlocks an entirely new strategic playbook. Once a business understands those purchasing habits, they can move away from guessing and start predicting demand. They can engineer highly targeted marketing campaigns.
Okay, like what? Give me an example of how a local mom and pop business actually uses that data to drive revenue.
All right, let's use your pizza example. The system tracks that a specific user has ordered a pepperoni pizza every Friday for 6 months.
Okay.
Suddenly, they miss a Friday. Then they miss a second Friday. Because the restaurant owns the white label app and all the data, the system can automatically trigger a personalized push notification on the third Friday afternoon.
Oh, that's smart.
It pops up on the user's phone saying, "We missed you. Here is a 15% discount on your favorite large pepperoni pizza if you order in the next 2 hours."
So you completely bypass the noise of the digital food court?
Yep.
You aren't just an interchangeable vendor on a massive scrolling list anymore. You have a direct line of communication right into your customer's pocket.
Yeah.
You can build a proprietary loyalty program, showcase daily specials on the home screen, and essentially turn a casual transactional user into a deeply engaged lifelong fan.
You are shifting from a transactional model to a relational model. But, to execute that seamlessly, the technology has to operate flawlessly in the physical world.
Which is hard.
Very hard.
Yeah.
It introduces a significant logistical challenge.
Right, and this is where I get a bit confused. Because owning the customer journey sounds amazing in theory.
Sure.
But practically speaking, how does a local business manage the actual physical movement of the food? Like if they unplug from Uber's massive network of dispatch servers and drivers, do they suddenly have to sit in the back office acting like an air traffic controller?
Not at all.
I just can't imagine a small business owner has the time to manually coordinate dozens of drivers on a busy Saturday night.
They absolutely don't have the time, which is exactly why a proper white label platform is not just a single app that the customer downloads.
No, it's not.
No, it is an entire synchronized digital ecosystem designed specifically to automate all those complex logistics. It typically consists of 4 distinct, interconnected pillars that constantly communicate with each other in real time.
Okay, 4 different pillars. Walk me through how this actually works. If I pull out my phone and order, say, a massive tray of pad thai from a local Thai place using their white label app, what exactly happens to that data?
All right, let's trace the journey of that order. The first pillar is the customer app. This is the polished, branded interface you downloaded. You tap Order on your pad thai.
Right.
The moment you do, that data packet instantly hits the second pillar, the admin dashboard. This is the central brain of the entire operation. It is a web-based control tower where the business owner has a bird's-eye view of all the analytics, users, and active orders.
Okay, so the central brain registers my order. Does it tell the kitchen to start cooking?
Yes, the admin dashboard immediately routes your order to the third pillar, which is the restaurant app. This is usually a tablet interface sitting right on the kitchen counter, or it's integrated directly into their POS.
And just to clarify the terminology for everyone listening, when we say POS or point of sale system, we are talking about the modern digital cash register systems that process payments and track inventory at the front counter.
Exactly. So the order pops up on the restaurant app so the chefs know exactly what to cook and when. This tablet also gives the kitchen staff critical control over the digital storefront. For instance, if the kitchen suddenly runs out of peanuts for your pad thai, the manager can tap a button on the tablet to 86 the item.
Oh, like cross it off.
Yeah, 86 is restaurant shorthand for removing something from the menu. The system instantly crosses it off the digital app so no one else can order it, which prevents huge customer service nightmares.
Okay, so I've ordered, the central brain processed it, and the kitchen is currently tossing the noodles.
Right.
But who is picking it up? Who is doing the air traffic control for the delivery drivers?
The system does it automatically through the fourth pillar, the Rider app.
Ah.
While the kitchen is cooking, the central admin dashboard's algorithm scans a 3-mile radius for available delivery drivers. It identifies the closest driver, calculates the estimated prep time from the kitchen, and pings that specific driver's Rider app. The driver accepts the job, and the app provides them with optimized turn-by-turn routing.
And when you say optimized routing, it's not just drawing a straight line on a map, right?
Not at all. A sophisticated white label algorithm calculates traffic patterns, weather delays, and can even batch multiple orders that are heading in the same general direction.
Wow, that's incredibly smart.
It sequences the drop-offs to ensure the drivers take the most efficient path possible, which keeps the food hot and maximizes the driver's earning potential per hour.
So the business owner isn't manually calling drivers. They aren't printing out map directions or guessing when the food will be ready.
Yep.
The four apps are literally talking to each other instantly. The system acts as a digital manager, orchestrating the entire flow of logistics in the background. So the owner only has to step in if, I don't know, a driver gets a flat tire or if there is a highly specific exception.
Exactly. That automation is what makes this viable for a small business. It completely removes the need for a human dispatch team.
This infrastructure is incredibly powerful. So who is actually deploying this in the real world? We've been using the example of a mom-and-pop pizza or Thai place, but the source material suggests the application is far broader than just traditional independent restaurants.
Oh, it is extremely broad. You see large regional restaurant chains using this technology to centralize their multi-location management.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, it allows corporate headquarters to ensure consistent branding, menu updates, and pricing across dozens of franchise locations simultaneously, all from one single admin dashboard.
The article also specifically points out cloud kitchens and virtual brands.
Yes, huge trend right now.
If you have this level of digital infrastructure where the app handles the branding, the ordering, and the logistics, do you even need a physical dining room anymore? Couldn't someone just cook out of an industrial warehouse?
That is exactly what a cloud kitchen is. It is a massive commercial kitchen facility optimized entirely for delivery, with zero public storefront. For these businesses, the white label platform is not just an operational tool, it is their entire existence.
Because they have no sign on the street.
Right. Because they have no physical signage or dining room, their custom app is their only storefront. The software allows them to launch multiple different virtual restaurant brands, say, a burger concept, a taco concept, and a wings concept, all operating out of the exact same physical kitchen.
But presenting as distinct digital apps to the consumer.
Exactly. It allows them to test new menus rapidly without any marketplace limitations.
And the financial numbers the source highlights are just wild. They mention a business called Borku that reportedly saved over $100,000 in marketplace commissions just by migrating their user base to a white label platform.
Incredible, right?
Think about what a local business can do with an extra $100,000 a year in free cash flow. I mean, that is capital to hire more staff, open a second location, or offer health benefits.
It fundamentally changes the financial trajectory of a business. And we also see startups using this to achieve massive scale. The article notes a company called Yalla that hit 60,000 active users in its very first year.
Wait, how does a local startup get 60,000 users in 12 months? They didn't just buy the software and hope people randomly found it on the App Store, right?
No, they engineered a localized blitz. Because Yalla wasn't hemorrhaging 30% of their gross revenue to a third-party tech giant, they had this massive pool of capital freed up.
Ah, they
They took those savings and poured them aggressively into local marketing, user acquisition strategies, and heavily targeted discounts using their new data ownership. They essentially used the financial leverage provided by the white label tech to fund their own explosive growth.
Wait, if startups are using the software to rapidly onboard tens of thousands of users, does that mean what I think it means? If I wanted to, could I license a complex version of this exact technology and launch my very own local delivery competitor to DoorDash tomorrow?
You absolutely could. Entrepreneurs are actively using multi-vendor white label platforms to build their own localized delivery empires.
That is wild.
They act as the central marketplace for their specific city, signing up local restaurants and managing local fleets of drivers, all without needing millions in venture capital to build the underlying tech. In fact, this shift is so pronounced that even the massive Silicon Valley giants are pivoting to accommodate it.
Really? How so? Are they trying to block it?
No, they are adapting. DoorDash, for example, offers a product called DoorDash Drive. It basically operates as a white label logistics network.
Okay, how does that work?
Well, a restaurant can use their own custom-built or white-labeled app to process the order, maintain their specific branding, and critically keep all the customer data.
Nice.
But when it comes time for physical delivery, the system pings DoorDash's massive fleet of drivers to fulfill the order for a flat fee rather than a percentage commission. It is a hybrid model for businesses that want the data ownership, but just don't want the headache of managing their own delivery fleet.
It seems like a massive win-win for the local economy. But obviously, transitioning to this model can't be entirely flawless. If a local business owner is listening to this and thinking about making the jump, what are the hidden pitfalls? Like, what do they need to look out for before signing a software license?
The most critical consideration is balancing cost versus features. When you look at providers, do not simply default to the absolute cheapest option.
Right. You get what you pay for.
Exactly. A $1,000 platform might look great on a spreadsheet, but if its writer app lacks the sophisticated route optimization algorithm, your drivers will be late, the food will be cold, and the customers will never use your app again.
And the source also heavily emphasizes the importance of seamless POS integration.
That is absolutely non-negotiable. If your new digital app cannot talk directly to your existing physical cash register system, you are going to create a logistical nightmare for your kitchen staff.
Because they'd have to double enter everything.
Exactly. They'd have to manually re-enter every digital order into the kitchen display screen. It's a recipe for disaster.
And what about customer support from the software provider? I mean, if you are licensing this tech and the server crashes at 7:00 p.m. on a Friday during the peak dinner rush, you can't exactly wait for an email response on Monday morning. You are losing thousands of dollars by the minute.
That highlights the fundamental trade-off of this entire revolution. When you leave the massive third-party marketplaces, you gain absolute financial control and total data ownership. But you also take on the ultimate responsibility for the consumer's digital experience.
Yeah, the buck stops with you.
Having a tech partner that offers guaranteed 24/7 technical support is essential. You're acting as your own digital storefront, and that storefront cannot afford to lock its doors on a Friday night.
Well, we have covered a tremendous amount of ground today. Let's trace the arc of what we've learned. We started by exploring the invisible trap. The 30% commission fees that act as a massive tax on the local restaurant industry, and how the traditional escape route, building a custom app from scratch, is simply too expensive and technically risky for a small business.
Right. And we then unpack the mechanics of the solution. White label platforms offer a fully engineered, highly customizable software infrastructure that allows businesses to lease the digital plumbing and launch a premium branded experience in weeks for just a fraction of the cost.
And we looked at the true strategic prize, which is data ownership. By moving away from marketplace apps that hoard customer information, restaurants can predict demand, build personalized marketing campaigns, and turn transactional interactions into genuine, direct relationships.
And finally, we demystify the underlying logistics, tracing how an automated four-pillar digital ecosystem seamlessly coordinates the customer, the central dashboard, the kitchen, and the delivery driver, acting as a digital manager to ensure smooth operations without the need for manual dispatching.
So before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder. We talked briefly about how this software can be configured for multi-vendor platforms. Think about your own neighborhood for a second. What if, instead of relying on massive tech conglomerates to facilitate local commerce, a group of, say, 20 independent restaurants on your street banded together?
It is a really profound concept. If they pooled their resources, they could easily license a multi-vendor white label platform and create a hyper-local, community-owned delivery network.
An app built by the community for the community? It would keep all the delivery revenue, all the profit margins, and all that incredibly valuable consumer data entirely within the neighborhood.
Exactly.
Nothing would be extracted and sent to a server farm across the country. It could completely revolutionize how local economies sustain themselves.
It transforms software from a mechanism of financial extraction into a tool of local empowerment. It gives the technology of the giants directly back to the creators of the food.
Absolutely. So the next time you pull out your phone and think about ordering that burger or your Friday night pizza, take a little closer look at the app you are using. Think about where that 30% is really going and who actually owns the digital path to your front door. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We will catch you next time.